talking about Israel and quote, Jewish people. They're controlling much of our foreign policy. They're influencing much of our domestic policy.
I've seen members question bills and votes on how does Israel feel about this. I must have heard that every time there was a significant Israel vote. Through its lobby has manifested so much power over the United States Congress that we're embroiled in wars that I don't believe we should be. Our kids are coming back in body bags. I don't like what's happening in America today.
All right, that's fair.
Our kids are coming back in body bags.
Wait a minute, but you're saying...
we're bankrupt. They control the Senate and the House Foreign Affairs Committee.
That's insane.
And they're controlling I believe Israel through their lobby has manifested total power of the Congress of the United States.
Total power.
And my concern is the taxpayers and the citizens of the United States should control their government, not a foreign entity.
To suggest, as you're doing here tonight...
Sean, I'm not suggesting it. I'm telling it. Yes, I believe they manifest a great power over America. Let me also say, in the last 4 years, there are 2 separate incidents of AIPAC spying on America. We even conducted a search warrant on AIPAC headquarters. Now, I don't like what's going on here. All I'm telling you is, I'm concerned about America. You and I might disagree. I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm not against Israel. And if Israel's attacked, I'm the first one to want to support them. But what I'm saying to you is this power that's being manifest on our Congress is going to backfire and it's going to end up in the long run hurting Israel because the American people are getting about fed up with this government.
One last shot at this. Will you back down from, quote, they are controlling much, meaning the Israelis, they are controlling much of our foreign policy. Will you back off that statement?
No, I don't.
Waiting for the summer rain.
This is by far the longest and most difficult project I've ever done. So far we're in it a year and a half.
She's won 2 Pulitzer Prizes for investigative reporting. Now Dana Priest has a new story.
I'm having interviews with FBI, with CIA, with NSA, with, just you name it. I've done hundreds of interviews, both in person and on the phone, and at all different levels.
She's trying to uncover the vast and hidden apparatus of the war on terror.
It is like a gigantic onion. The peeling back the layers just has continued and continued and continued. And it's growing. So how do you even get your arms around that and say, what is this world?
To tell the story, Priest formed an alliance with military expert and reporter William Arkin. Arkin lives in Vermont and works in his barn.
I like to catalog, list, and create databases and understand the totality of things.
Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
Once competitors, now Arkin and Priest are working together.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cautious dance between 2 people who are very secretive. But eventually we realized we were looking at exactly the same thing.
He is a compulsive collector of information. And he's got his secret computers.
Using the tools of the web, they began to build a map, trying to identify what some in Washington call the dark side.
But this has been totally revamped since 9/11. Completely. And so there's the helicopter pad for the helicopter that would come in from the White House. And here's the entrance to the bunker.
Everything lives somewhere. So if we can start to map it,
2 satellite receivers,
then maybe we could actually do sort of an alternative geography that you can't see because it's purposely hidden from you.
It's like a Cold War model superimposed on top of the post 9/11 world.
What I started to do is physically catalog the top secret America, the pieces of our government, our military, our homeland security apparatus, and our corporate world that were doing top secret work.
They began to uncover a massive hidden world of military, government, and private organizations.
Here's all of General Dynamics in the country.
Oh my goodness. You know, it's something that I felt after covering the military for so many years and then the CIA. There was something out there that was not there before 9/11, and it was growing.
So Priest asked Washington Post photographer Michael Williamson to take pictures of the hidden sites Arkin was finding.
So can we just go over what you have?
Sure. This is the pictures that I went up to that credit union place. It's all surrounded with signs like this. It is.
For the rest of my life, I will never see the world the same way again, especially around Washington.
Yeah. So had it not been for the leaves off the trees and at night, you would never see this thing.
And yet it's gigantic.
Yeah.
These buildings that
I checked all the maps.
they might only be 4 stories high, but they go down 10 stories. And there's a whole world down there, like shops and places to eat and that you don't know about. That's just for them.
They are top secret intelligence buildings. And one day, as Williamson approached one of them, he was taken by surprise.
Cars, I don't know where they came from. I thought they dropped out of the sky and pinned me up against the curb. I wasn't even completely turned around. The creepy part about it was they didn't do anything for a couple minutes. And I literally saw commandos, coming out of the trees. They had masks and big jackets and heavy weaponry and just humorless, quiet guys the size of, bears.
And where were you at that time?
I was stuck behind the wheel, ordered to keep my hands on the wheel.
Priest decided to personally verify the actual buildings Arkin's web work had uncovered. Hundreds of secret locations hiding in plain sight in office parks.
And this is a gate to the NSA?
Yeah, there's a government facility back in there. You'll see it better after we turn down this road.
I met Dennis over the phone. I was looking for a realtor that might be able to take me around and show me the geography of what, in my mind, is this cluster, this density of top secret America.
You've got Titan in here, CSC is in one of these buildings, General Dynamics, security station here at the front where they check out the cars and look underneath.
Yeah, so maybe you should put the camera down now.
You just never know who's watching over here.
It is a world that has gotten so big. I think we're up to close to 500 organizations.
It's right through those trees.
And 2,000 contracting companies that do top secret work. So you lease them the building, but you have no idea what they...
Well, you don't ask. You need it when, you need how much, and then you get out of the way.
There are close to 1 million people who are living in this different world. This has gotten so big, it's impossible to manage.
17,000 locations, 1,300 government entities, 3,666 private sector entities, 1,200 government agencies. When you stop and look at the sheer scale of it, it's an extraordinarily difficult story to report by virtue of what it is that we're trying to describe, which is top secret America.
The stories are breaking in the Washington Post, taking the measure of just how big, powerful, and unmanageable top secret America has become since 9/11.
Counter drugs,
The names are really
counter
wild. They don't tell you anything
IEDs.
about what they do.
The stakes couldn't be any higher, as I said earlier, in the world in which we live. There are extreme elements that use religion to achieve objectives.
He was talking, of course, about extreme elements using religion in Iraq. But an hour later, Mr. Bush posed with officials from the Southern Baptist Convention. It is described as the largest, most influential evangelical denomination in a new book by the former number 2 man in Bush's Office of Faith-Based Initiatives. The book, Tempting Faith, not out until Monday. But in our third story tonight, a Countdown exclusive. We've obtained a copy, and it is a devastating work. Author David Quo's conservative Christian credentials are impeccable, his resume sprinkled with names like Bennett and Ashcroft. Now, as the Foley cover-up has many evangelical Christians wondering whether the GOP is really in sync with their values, Tempting Faith provides the answer. No way. Quo citing one example after another of a White House that repeatedly uses evangelical Christians for their votes while consistently giving them nothing in return. A White House which routinely speaks of the nation's most famous evangelical leaders behind their backs with contempt and derision. Furthermore, faith-based initiatives were not only stiffed on one public promise after another by Mr. Bush, the office itself was eventually forced to answer an even higher calling, electing Republican politicians. Quo's bottom line, the Bush White House is playing millions of American Christians for suckers. According to Quo, Karl Rove's office referred to evangelical leaders as the nuts.
Let me just share some thoughts on this with you, if I may. This is, war is hell. And in fact, let's go to that whole notion. Not only is war hell, but the notion of evil. We historically in the United States, maybe George W. Bush and the Republicans, just for a moment, let's just imagine that possibly they actually went to the dark side. Historically, this five-pointed star was man, right? It meant man. It's the good thing. And if you flipped it upside down, the upside-down five-pointed star with the goat, with his chinny chin chin and his ears and his horns, was the sign of Satan worshippers. It was a satanic star. Now, you can see on the American flag, our stars are right side up. All across America, you'll see symbols with five-pointed stars. The stars are right side up, the man stars. But around the year 2000, the Republican Party changed their logo from the stars being right side up to the stars being upside down. Coincided with the coming on the scene of George W. Bush and Karl Rove. Very strange. I think they need an exorcism. Let's exercise them. Here's the exorcism. Number one, end the Bush tax cuts. Number two, end the Bush wars. And number three, end the crazy notion that corporations are people and that money is speech and that the rich can buy our nation. If we did that, we might bring the Republican Party back to sanity, back to its Dwight Eisenhower roots, back to the days when they actually could have an opposite opinion from the Democrats, but honestly broker solutions and situations and have reasonable conversations. Exorcisms for the Republican Party. Good idea.
This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my